Have you ever, when you're studying Tanakh, you saw this? I'm not talking about the word, I'm talking about this, the parentheses. If not, I saw it many times. Like you all know, I'm learning in Open Ben Midrash, Sefer Daniel. So basically, in Sefer Daniel, you have like in almost each page, Kli Uktiv. What is Kli Uktiv? I'm gonna explain now. So you have a parenthesis almost every page, and it's a little bit bothering me. So I asked my rabbi, what is this? Like, just why? So he explained me. He said that it's called Keri Uketiv. Okay, so and he told me that you can understand something different for how it's read and how it's written. But I didn't understand like this, like how you can understand, like just hear it, how you can understand something completely different for how it's written or how it's read it. So I did the search and I found that this is a phenomenon that manifests in like through all the entire Tanakh, and is where a word is pronounced differently from how it's read. This word it's called Keri Uketiv. It's written in the Tanakh, and this in parentheses is called Keri. How you need to read it. Okay. So how this came from? I forgot to. Okay, yeah, I forgot to pass this around. Sorry. Okay.
Wait, is it
Okay. What else is doing sources at 11 o'clock at night? Not to go to sleep.
Okay. Like you can see in source 1, in the Gemara, in Nedarim 37b, says that this Keri Uketiv came from Torah Moshe Sinai. Like it says, Mikra Sofrim, Beitur Sofrim, Bekarian Vela Ketivan, Uketivan Vela Karian, Alaha Moshe Sinai. Hashem give to Moshe in Har Sinai the whole thing. Also this. Thank you. This is the first approach. The second approach that we have in source 2, it's in Radak's. Radak's give it, and it's in Shmuel Bet, in the word M, and he said that during the first exile in Galut Babel, the Torah gets lost because we're not the whole Torah, part of the Torah. What the Shnei Knesset Agdola did, they tried to put what they remember, and they tried to complete the Torah. Sometimes they followed the majority, and sometimes they had a doubt, so they put everything in the parentheses. This is Radak's approach. Arbabanel argues against this. In source 3, he questions how can Ezra Sofer had a Sefer Torah and Sefer Tanakh, and without knowing the accuracy of the letters. Also, there is an halacha that, by the way, I think we studied today, that says that if a Sefer Torah has a word, no, not a word, a letter that has a mistake, it's pasul, it's invalid. So how can be that if the whole Sefer Torah for one word it's pasul, how can be that in the whole Tanakh you have this that we can say that it's mistakes? Also, in the 8th of the 13th of the 13 Animamim, it says שכל התורה המצויה עתה בידינו היא הנתונה למשה רבנו. This Torah that we have now is from the Torah Moshe Sinai. It has never changed, which this includes Keriuktiv. So this approach connects with the first approach that we said about the Gemara. Also, he gives another approach, saying, but this approach only applies in specific parts of the Gemara, of the Tanakh, that Ezra and the Ashkenaz Knesset Agdolah saw that there were words difficult to our understanding, so they add the Keri, this, with similar words, easier to our understanding. For example, in Yehezkel, we saw that Yehezkel has a lot of prophecies that were very, very difficult to understand. So they put this Keri to help us to understand the intention of what it wants, the original intention that Yehezkel wants to give. The last approach that we have, it's from Aaron Ben Asher, that he explains in his book Dikdukei Te'amim, that this phenomenon, it's not a mistake, is that Hashem expressed the same idea in two different styles, two different times, and two different wait one second. Two different types, two different styles, and and two different places. For example, what? If you see in the Aseret Adirot in source 6, you have in Parashat Shemot, you have Zachor et Yom HaShabbat lekotcho. In Parashat Devarim, we have Shamor et Yom HaShabbat lekotcho. These two words are completely different, but doesn't contradict each other or replace each other. In the contrary, they add meaning to the interpretation. So let's take a look 1 second to the different versions of Keriuktiv. You have, and if you don't understand, let me know. You have Keri, Velo, Ketiv. Okay. And Ketiv, I don't know if you can see it. Velo, Keri. Okay. Okay. So first, Keri Velo Ketiv. It's when something it's red, but it's not brightened. This is, and I'm gonna explain what it means better. This follows a Radak's approach, that how we know what we need to say by Mesorah. So this is the less common. Appears only in Nach, not in Chumash, only 11 times. Okay, and if you see in source 7, you can see an image, a picture of Sefer Shoftim that says Abu Asterisk Binyamin. How we know this, and how we know which word needs to say? By Mesorah. So here, the word that it's missing, it's the word Benay. The example that the explanation that we give for this example, it means the explanation that for this example, Minhaj Shai said that it's intentional, because in this part of the Nach, Shevet Binyamin did a terrible crime in the story of Pilegesh Begiva. So here the text take out their honor of being called Bnei Binyamin. give but in if you read the Perek in other places they are called Bnei Binyamin. So here the text is giving them the opportunity to make teshuvah. Okay, so this is the Kerio Veloktiv. We're gonna put for you remember an asterisk. The other type is Ketiv Velokri. This is the most common. And this is when something is written, but you read it differently. Like what? If you see source 8, says in Megillat Esther says Vayasem Hamelech Achashverosh. Achashverosh here it's written differently than how you need to say it. Without it's written without vav. And also the Keri and the Ketiv can be completely different. Like we can see in the Barim that says like two different words. So maybe you can have the question, or maybe no. So I can ask it. What if the Keri sounds exactly like the Ketiv? What I mean with this, look to source 10. You have in Shemot, you have the word lo with vav and what with well. So now look to Mismar de Torah. So you have lo with vav and lo with aleph. Lo with vav means to him. In the words lo with aleph is no. So how we like? Okay, sounds the same. So what's the point here? Rav Dayan Ivan Binstok in his article says that if that here counts the intention of the Baal Koreh. He needs to have in mind that it's this law and not this. So when we are learning this, which one do we need to pay more attention? So in Gemara, we found a big debate. Like always, Gemara always have machloket. In Masechet Sukkah 6b, say they argues about this, and it's the debate. It's called Em la Mesoret or Em la Mikre. Okay. Here, Em la Mesoret it's ketiv, yeah. And Em la Mikre it's ketiv. So basically, they argue what's the minimum amount of walls that the sukkah needs to have, and they analyze this in Sefer Vayikra, in the pasuk Mem Bet Mem Gimel. That by the way, it's this week's parsha. Oh, by the way. So they analyze how Sukkot is pronounced and without vav, with vav. It's a whole debate. So if you want like that, I explain the debate. I can explain you later.
That'll be part 2, Mishmar, if you want to.
Yeah.
In the door.
So basically, the Chachamim said that they follow the Em la Mesoret, the Ketiv, how it's written, and Rabbi Shimon says Em la Mikre, and they follow how you need to read it. Okay. So now I want to give you another example of Ketiv Velokri. In Esther again. See, we have found a beautiful idea. In the word here of Kriuktiv, it's Atudim. Okay? So, 1 second. I don't have 6. Okay, so the word here it's written Atudim. Atudim. No. Yeah. Atudim, and you needed to read it Atudim. Chumash says that the word atudim, this word means like it's a kind of goat. Like we know from Yaakov when Laban came and changed the goats and many times, and that is here the word that they use is the word atudim. So here the word atudim means this, and what it wants to say is that the Jews must be prepared. The Jews must prepare leaders to go before the people, and like the goats that are walking in front of the flock. So he quoted Radak, who says that the officials are called atudim. So here it's called atudim, and they need to go forward. And the word atidim is that the Jews needs to be prepared for the future, and in order because atidim it came from the word future. So so the Jews must be prepared for this, and to look forward the future. They need to be ready for act together. So here the main thing it's not just having leaders; it's acting as one team. So if everyone acts on their own, they will not be success. Here unity is very important for Israel, because when they are united as one, the Shekhinah is with them. That is why later in the Megillah it says Vaikalu Hayudim, and the Jews were gathered together. They formed a united assembly. Yeah. And the Shekhinah was with them. All this just from one word that changed. Okay. Putting this in aside 1 second. A fun fact. Not a fun. Well, I had many free time, so I looked through all the Chumash, looking for Keri Uktiv, which I'm not sorry. And
You didn't stop her.
and I found that this is only to think about. Only in Chumash, Chamisha Chumshei Torah, only in that you have only 22 times Kri. Only in that. And if you pass the page and you look to Yoshua, you have 26. So it's like something to think about, like why there are more in Nevi'im than in Torah. That's another topic, but it's really interesting. So from here, what we can learn, we can sometimes we can find very interesting Keriuktiv, like we just saw in Esther. And sometimes, how can I explain you? For example, in Daniel, in Sefer Daniel, there are sometimes that the Mefarshim they don't give you an explanation. They say, this is Keri, this is point. Like you can see in the last source that says in Sefer Daniel, Vayasem, Vayashav. In Michat says, Vayasem, it's Keri. I know that. Give me an explanation. But anyway, so we can learn from here, and also